Welcome to the RuPaul's Drag Race Recap Show for Season 9, Episode 7, titled 9021 Ho. My name is Joe Betance, and I am joined, as always, by my very own Brandon and Brenda. From the podcast, Pod is my co-pilot. Please say Chicka Cherry Cola to Taylor Maittlen-Harris.
Okay. I don't know who Maittlen-Harris. Who is that?
Oh, that's so sad, Taylor. That's so sad. Read the script further down.
Okay. Well, I've got it kind of blocked off. Oh, okay. Now that makes sense, especially the Brandon and Brenda thing. That makes okay because I saw it said Taylor the Latte Boy in the script, and I was sad that it wasn't going to be. Never mind. I'll shut up now. It's whatever.
Yeah, it was super, super embarrassing. Taylor and I have been talking a lot lately, but now, Taylor, I feel like you're overcompensating for this, where I say you're mean and whatnot.
No, because I know I was genuinely hostile to you about 2 hours ago on the phone.
Oh, you were?
See, okay, on the times that I recognize that I'm being mean, you're an ass. I know, because you got real quiet at one point and then just started going into whatever your agenda was on the phone.
What are you talking about?
When you called me...
I know what you're talking about when I was eating pistachios.
Yes. Well, no. When you called me on the phone, and then you were like, you kept singing "Finally" at me, and then eventually I went, "Joe, what do you want?" And then pause.
I'm going to tell you guys something.
So I was thinking about today's episode.
Yeah. Hold on for a second. Hold, please. I want the sound effects for this. Hold on.
Oh, and he's gone.
Finally.
Everybody, Taylor. He goes, hello, and then this is what it sounds like.
Okay, but for
hello,
anybody...
Joe. Hello.
Okay, I was getting out of my car. I had my phone up to my ear with one hand, and I had a Starbucks coffee in the other, and I had gotten a pastry, and I had the pastry bag up by my pinky that was holding by the phone. You know what? You're lucky I answered the phone. How about that?
I know. Oh, no, I don't deny that. I don't deny that I'm lucky that you answered the phone. Yeah, it's rare that you answered the phone.
I answered the phone. We had a lovely FaceTime conversation for an hour on Friday.
Yeah, but you know what it felt like? Like when you win a contest, have a conversation with the guy that sang Rick Springfield or something like that, and he has to he's obligated to talk to you for 20 minutes. That's what it felt like. That
is okay. Two things. One. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was a lovely conversation, and I enjoyed talking with you. Number two, now you know what it's like for all those people that used to listen to Catching Up, where you would rattle the bag into the microphone. Now you know what it's like. Thank you.
But I rattled the bag again. What are you talking about?
But that was always the part of the show that I would fast forward through and Catching Up. Yeah. Because I hated when you would rattle the bag.
But Taylor, that was literally 100 episodes ago or more. 150 episodes ago. No one's alive who heard that.
Except for somebody you're doing a podcast. Introduce our co-host, please.
And from Los Angeles, right over the hill from me, actually, please say, you're perfect, you're beautiful, you look like Linda Evangelista, you're a model, everything about you is perfect. Did you stone those tights? Oh, you're smiling. They eat her up every single time she's on that damn stage. She could walk out there in a fucking diaper, and they're like, Valentina, your smile is beautiful. To Claudia Maittlen-Harris.
That is the greatest intro I'll ever get for the rest of my life. Oh my god, you had me at Linda Evangelista.
Oh, I know.
Oh my god, that was amazing, Aja.
This is actually super, super groundbreaking for our show because despite the fact that over half of our audience is made up of women. You're the first cisgender straight woman we've ever had on this show. Is this true, Taylor, or no?
I believe it is.
Thank you. I am so kind of honored by that because I love this show, but I never have a lot of friends to talk to about it. And I keep saying, it's not only glamorous and amazing, it's uplifting and there's life lessons, but it's bitchy and catty and fierce. And so the fact that Joe said, do you want to talk about it? I was like, yeah. So.
I love that she's kind of honored. Not honored, but kind of honored.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, Taylor, honestly, with our show, that's the most we can hope for.
Oh, no, I agree 100%. I feel obligated to be honored, so thank you for having me on the show.
Fully honored.
I guess it's an honor. I guess. I don't know. Well, yeah, it's something I've been thinking about a lot, and you're the perfect person, is because we get most of our fans are women. In fact, we did this Patreon pledge. Don't worry, everybody, we're not doing a Patreon pledge. But when we looked at all the people who donated, I haven't done the official count, but I would say the vast majority of support comes from women. I don't know if they're straight or gay, but it comes from women, and that was moving, to say the least.
I would be curious if we had if lesbians were Drag Race fans, if we had a lesbian Drag Race fan, and what they would think about with the female archetypes versus what that would be an interesting email if we had any lesbian listeners.
Claudia?
I've got to say, I'm not sure, because I don't want to sort of just assign a stereotype of what you think about. But for me, what I would think female listeners, there's the runway, there's the show, it's the fashion. It's like when they were doing, I was listening to you guys last week, and I so wanted to talk about the Madonna, because I was so mad at so many missed opportunities of fabulous Madonna, incarnations and what they didn't do. And I loved Valentina and all these others. But I think the fashion of drag would get a lot of women, that alone.
Yeah.
And just I've told Joe this, I think a lot gets assigned to the Kardashians of these famous things, they're all the makeup and the hair and the contouring and the waist trainers. And I'm like, that's drag.
Yeah.
They are merely doing what drag's been doing, contouring, ask a drag queen. That's all they do. And so I wouldn't be surprised if there are a lot more women that like a lot of elements of this show, for sure. And then the bitchy cattiness. Hi.
Yeah. Hello.
That's us.
I would love to see more cisgender queens. You know what I mean? Is for instance, Elvira is essentially a drag queen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because all drag does is take femininity and push it to the very limit. Yeah. It's an extreme version of femininity. And that's super fascinating, super interesting.
While remaining respectful, too.
But it's all the divas, if you think about it. It's Cher, and Bette Midler, or Britney, or, Judy Garland. It's these women that were bigger and bolder and love fabulous, all of that, ness. So.
I like her. She's smart.
What does that mean?
Well, Rodan's been on.
I thought you meant me. I was like, well, why did I just get insulted?
I was like, you like me.
By the way,
you edit the show. I'm not insulting you on the show.
Oh, no. Cut to there's no more. I make Taylor a really high-pitched voice. He's like,
as compared to this?
Well, look, I'm be honest with you. I actually think that's why we have a lot of female listeners. I don't think we are. I feel there are some shows that I've listened to that, not through any words or what they say, but they make it known as a show for gay men, where I feel like our show seems more open to everybody and more welcoming. You know?
It's about the show.
And making fun of Taylor.
Oh, Taylor.
And bottoming.
I don't know where I fall on that right now. I go back and forth, and I know that would make me verse, but it depends on the guy. What's your take, Taylor? Have you ever topped Taylor in your life?
I was kidding. Oh, my God. I have topped,
yes.
Whoa. I have topped.
Do you feel
been a while, but yeah.
Do you feel comfortable saying whether you've topped with your husband or not?
I have.
In the past, since being married?
In the past
couple weeks?
Hour, maybe.
Oh my God. Wow.
Woo.
Who knew you were Taylor the Versatile Boy?
This week, the girls travel back to the 90s for a 90210 tribute and tried out their acting skills in front of Jenny Garth and Tori Spelling. Aja throws a tantrum in the workroom while Nina got messy during rehearsal. People flubbed their lines, which never happens in Hollywood, while the girls shared their own personal histories with disease. God. Trinity Taylor was named the winner of this week's challenge, while Nina Bonita Brown and Aja were placed in the bottom two.
Not in Taylor's world. The versatile two for Taylor.
After a lip sync so close, Pheromone disappeared. What?
I'll explain that after you finish.
We'll get to it later. RuPaul saved Nina Bonita Brown and sent Aja back to Brooklyn. Ladies, any initial thoughts on the episode?
It's not that I've loved Aja, but you were seeing such growth and her realization, and Aja's makeup was finally really great.
Yeah.
And her outfit and her runway was awesome. And her lip sync was better. I don't even understand how, when she said Aja, I was waiting for they both stay. Mm-hmm. Because, or they both go home. I don't know. I couldn't believe they saved Nina. I never disagree with Ru on the end. And I was like, what? I was mad.
Yeah, that was definitely a surprise because unfortunately it had been spoiled by somebody on Facebook for me as to who went home. So I was expecting her to be like Mezzy compared to Nina, and the whole time I was watching it, I was thinking that they're both doing really well. Like it could have gone either way. So.
I didn't think it was either way. I thought Aja had that lip sync.
I think and we'll get into this later, I think, with the looks particularly, but I think because of the look that Nina had, where she kind of had that, and the shape of her face to where she really kind of accentuated that feline look, I think that's what kept your attention there. Had she not had that makeup on, I think it probably would have totally gone Aja's way.
But is that because the minute they said they were doing Finally, I got so excited as a Priscilla Queen of the Desert love affair with that movie. I was like, oh, you girls bet to bring it. And so do you think because she had that feline look, in the movie, they have that very reptilian, when they're like, finally.
And I went the opposite because I thought because Aja had the big hair like they have in that movie and the crazy, the leather corset and everything, I thought that would have helped her.
Yeah.
It was definitely the shock. There's usually at least one shocker per season as far as an elimination,
yes.
And I think this was it. At least as far as we know. Why? Do you disagree with that?
I know there's a huge shock coming.
Okay.
Well, I know nothing.
I'm not going to tell you.
Look at me, I'm like, what? But here was my thought is that I feel like that they really, when they see a queen having problems and progressing, which obviously Nina Bonet Brown has done, but Aja, they've totally been writing and has had problems, and we've seen it in Untucked, and we've seen it, in the workroom, but she finally had, because her makeup has been a clown, and it's been driving me bananas, and her fashion's been weak, and she finally was fierce. That was an amazing runway, I thought. Mm-hmm. She was in the top runway. She sucked in the 90210, but she was having that progression. And they've given Nina 20 chances, and they didn't give Aja one.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. I want to step in before we blow our load on before we even start. No, sorry.
I was like,
because usually it's actually my fault because what it usually says is name 2 things you liked and 1 thing you didn't about the episode. I'll give you guys time to think about that, but let me jump in and explain what I wrote over here, which it says after lip sync so close, pheromone disappeared. There's a really funny moment. There's a theory as to what happened, but right after the lip sync, remember you see Aja walk back and put her dress back on?
Yeah.
And then Ru renders a decision. During that shot before the lip sync ends, you see Pheromone behind Aja. Then she walks over to pick up her dress, and Pheromone is gone. And then when she comes back to stand there, Pheromone's returned.
Oh, I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, it's super, super weird. So in previous interviews, a couple of drag queens have said in talking about how long you stand there. There was a moment, and this may be it, where Pheromone asked to go to the bathroom, and they wouldn't let her, and she peed herself standing back there. So I think even Ferris talked about this. So this could be the episode where that happened, and so she had to essentially...
That was a very beautiful bedazzled dress. I would hate that she peed on that.
Well, when you gotta go... You gotta go. So Claudia, do you have 2 things you liked and 1 thing you didn't about the episode?
2 things I liked. I liked this challenge. It felt very in the vein of when they do an acting challenge, and I liked that it was 90210 and that they had Tori and Jenny Garth, even though they were so awkward giving direction.
Yeah.
They're so cheesy. They were cheese-tastic. But so I liked the challenge. Mm-hmm. I didn't like the theme of the runway, just big hair. I thought that was lame. They just usually can be so more inventive, I thought. Mm-hmm. Even though I thought there were some really great looks, I just thought some of them just, put a big wig on. I didn't like Trinity's look at all.
We'll get to that. Taylor, what about you?
I love her. She has my exact same answers. I love the acting, and I did not like the hair. The hair. I did not like the challenge, and I think that I think some of them were pretty weak as far as what their concept of big hair is.
It literally was just big hair.
We'll get to... You know what I like about this, though? Is during the looks part, I'll probably just leave.
Oh, my God. I could talk about the looks.
I go make lunch. That's going to be where Joe, goes hey, bye, guys. I'm going to go watch, Lawrence of Arabia.
I'll have you come over and watch my baby. You just go babysit.
And by the time I drive over there, watch the baby, drive back...
We'll still be talking about RuPaul's look.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, we're barely on the second queen. I'm like, what? You're barely on Sasha Velour?
People right now are panicking, looking at seeing how long this episode is going. Oh, crap, they're not going to do a 3-hour episode, are they?
Well, you know, it's so funny because before it had nothing to do with you, Claudia, just by the nature of the episode, when I wrote the script, it was just a very short script. There's only 5 clips. And I was like, I don't think it's going to be a very long episode. And... No.
We could do a deep dive on the wigs, a deep dive on the makeup, and then get to their outfits. That's how much I could talk about.
You think I'm joking that I'm going to go walk and do other things? I'm not. All right. After Cynthia's elimination, the girls walk back in the workroom to de-drag. Peppermint washes off the lipstick mirror message, while Trinity Taylor proudly proclaims a cuckoo coup. Now, that's everyone. I was so proud of myself on this. Because it's cuckoo, but it's coup, C-O-U-P. So cuckoo. Anyway, Nina Bonina Brown goes back to self-pity, where she belongs, while Trinity Taylor inflicts pain on Valentina. Meanwhile, Alexis Michelle put the me in Michelle.
Ross said that I am rising up. It felt really good to get some really strong critiques. Thank you, Ross. I will take that to heart.
Alexis Michelle finally won a challenge. Girl, watch out, because she is going to make it me. She's going to make it the Alexis show.
The next day in the workroom, the RuPaul enters and announces this week's Maxi Challenge.
Get ready to rewind to 1993.
When I was born.
You were born in 93?
Yeah.
I'm gonna fucking fuck you up. For this week's Maxi Challenge, you'll be acting in a classic high school drama that we're calling 90210. Later today, you'll head over to the set to meet your co-directors from the original Beverly Hills 90210, the legendary Jenny Garth and Tori Spelling.
My mind is blown.
Okay, they've had gigantic stars like Lady Gaga, and of course, when they were that excited about Lisa Kudrow.
Right.
Jenny Garth and Tori his mind is blown on that?
Well, I love that it's like Jenny Garth, and there were little gasps, and then Tori Spelling, and the room exploded in glitter. I mean, that was the funny part. People are like, was Jenny Garth on 90210?
Yeah.
It had that brief moment.
Isn't she on Wayne's World? Anyway, Taylor, what were your... So this is where I want to talk about the actual... This is where I want to talk about the challenge? Yeah. I want to actually talk about the entire challenge right here. Everything that you liked about it, everything, the challenge itself, the finished product, and then we'll talk about specific people in the challenge. But what were your thoughts, Taylor, on the challenge, how it came out, the quality, the funniness? Was it good? What were your thoughts, Taylor?
I thought it was one of the better acting challenges they've ever had on the series. I think that there were some people, they didn't seem so focused on the ones that couldn't get their lines, with the exception of maybe Nina and Aja. You know, I keep thinking back to like the Shakespeare one that was on season 7, and thinking about a couple of other ones that were not really good. But this one, I thought a couple of people really were really, really good in it. And I thought a lot of the jokes were funny, and I was overall, I was pleased by the challenge.
Claudia?
Yeah, Taylor, I completely agree with you. Like, when they did it, but they had me at the opening sequence. Like, when we saw the rehearsals of them doing it, and you could tell that Nina Bonina was having problems. Partly, hers was cracking me up because it was just sort of not understanding the sentence. You know what I mean?
Oh,
because
yeah.
Jenny Garth was like, I can't understand what she's saying. And I was like, it's because she doesn't understand what she is saying.
Yeah.
You know, she's like, where are the boys? At. this school, or something weird. It was like the breaking up of the sentence, but I enjoyed the opening sequence when they show that at the end. I loved that like ridiculous, like
with the white screen with them all going,
that one. Yeah, as a 90210 fan from the day, yeah, I liked it. The only thing is that I didn't realize who was some of the characters. I forgot who they were. Like I think I was confused who was playing Tiffany Amber Thiessen and who was playing
Aja
Brenda.
was playing Tiffany Amber Thiessen.
No, she was Brenda.
No.
Wait,
Peppermint was Brenda.
No, Peppermint was Brandon.
Peppermint was a girl version of Brandon.
Brandon, you're right.
And Nina was Brenda.
Yeah.
That's right. And they both, the bitchiest roles, how are queens made them the worst?
I was not a big 90210 fan when I was in school and of that age. I was a huge Melrose Place fan when Melrose Place started that, but I had totally forgot that Tiffany Amber Thiessen was on 90210.
So. That's who I thought because there were two. So and then they made that joke like you were only a 4-season or something. So I was like, oh, she's Valerie.
Well, the character's name is also like. Brittany, it's a play on Tiffany Amber Thiessen. It's like it's close to Amber Thiessen at the end too, like Bamber Gleason. It took me a while to figure out who she was, and then I had to watch it like 3 or 4 times.
Because not all the names were based on the people's real names; they were based on the characters' names. Yeah. So that was based on Tiffany Amber Thiessen's real name, not her character Valerie. Yeah. So right? Am I remembering that name right? Yeah. So, but I did really enjoy the challenge. That one was a fun one for me.
What about you, Joe?
When I did a Gold Bar episode, that's where we do our live. For anyone who's not listening, you should go live after the show. And I did a live, in my first thoughts after the show on Friday. But I didn't like it when I first saw it, but then I've watched it literally 4 or 5 times since. And I actually really do like it. I do agree. It's probably one of I can't think of a better acting challenge, an acting challenge that I like more than that. Would you consider the John Waters one an acting challenge?
Kind of, but I mean, I think it was more focused on the songs.
Yeah, you're right.
It was you were just kind of those scripts are already sort of known in that they're based in something that people.
What about the
memorized.
Empire Challenge?
Empire Challenge. The Empire Challenge was sort of an example of one of those where certain people really rose to. I mean, you thirsty bitch. That's the only thing that I necessarily remember about that challenge. Whereas this one, there are certain scenes that I already remember from that will stay with me. And another thing that I really feel like I kind of have to eat my words on is I remember saying that we thought the first person to go home was going to be Trinity Taylor, and she was amazing in this. She did a really, really well. She won the challenge, but it's one of these that I'm still not a big fan of hers, but I am impressed with how far she's going on the show.
It's one of these things where the only people who really did poorly were Aja and Nina, and Sasha was just meh. That was the thing. Sasha was meh. She wasn't horrible.
Yeah.
She was meh. And Nina and Aja were and the other ones, I would say other than that, Valentina was really good.
Valentina, I mean, I think people want to hate that she's just a pretty queen, but she's just shining in every single category. Because she now can do comedy. She is a pretty queen. She's a fashion queen. Like, I'm just like, holy crap. Like, I don't see how she doesn't win this thing. But then I've listened to your podcast, and then now I hear she's... I'm very Team Valentina, and I love her every more each week. Yeah. And if she's been trained, more power to her for playing the game the very best she play. She is amazing. And I still want her to win for her Madonna look, but that's all right.
Yeah, I never understand the people who are like, oh, yeah, she's only done it for 10 months. And I was like, who cares? Who cares if she's done it for... And they're like, well, she lied. How many of these queens lie about their ages? This Ginger Minge was saying she was 29. Does anybody believe Ginger Minge is 20? Or now I think she's like 32 or something, 31. But
I think Ginger Minge believes she was 29.
Yeah, maybe like this challenge. Maybe she thinks it's 1993.
I'm just having my mind blown that Ginger Minge claimed to be 29. Did not remember.
Oh
that.
yeah, during
on her season
7.
she said she was 29.
I think I blocked that out because I just knew it was false. Because there's no way.
Yeah, there's no way she's 29. No.
But Joe, here's what I'll say though about the Valentina only doing drag for 10 months. We know, because Joe and I did stand-up, that's how we met, through a friend, and there would be stand-ups like, I've only been doing it for, like less than a year.
Yeah.
And you would sit there going, bitch, I did an open mic with you like 4 years ago. Like, what are you talking about? So I can see how that statement doesn't matter to the viewing public. 'Cause you're like, well, 10 months, 10 years, you're good. Yeah. But to the people that are doing it and working, it just sets off that anger. And like, either if that you're lying or B, that you're using it like, But it reminds me, because I always watch Project Runway, and there was a girl that won, Anya, and she's like, I just taught myself to sew last year. And the designers were furious and hated her. She won, and she was really good. So I think that producers love that, like, I just came out of nowhere. And it drives people that have been doing it forever bananas.
Taylor?
I would agree with that. But didn't Violet Chachki, she had been a relatively new queen when she started as well, and I mean, won the whole thing. So I think it's just whether it is 10 months, whether she's secretly been doing it for years or whatever, it adds to the narrative, it adds to that interest in her, and then she gets to also do the whole, well, I'm just this sweet little Mexican girl who just, completely slays it on the runway. So,
yeah,
whatever.
Am I a drag
We all want to
queen?
watch her.
Yeah, she's super
10 months, she's amassed a small fortune, or at least in a way to access quality runway. Like, you can always tell, the range, sort of like the Chi-Chi Devane kind of thing, or Divine, but I don't know what she's done in 10 months, because she is throwing that money into some fierce.
And just because she's doing it, okay, at the risk of leaving myself open for fodder for Joe, we've all had those moments where we've been lip syncing in our car, or we've been singing along to a song, or we're performing a concert for ourselves in the car and everything. So even though she may be where she's become polished over the last 10 months, if this is accurate, that doesn't mean that she couldn't have been practicing from the time she was a little kid, as far as doing runway walks and all that kind of stuff. We've all had those moments in our living rooms where we're, a legend in our living room kind of thing, of where we all have done little, dances and all that kind of thing. So it's just because she's only been doing it for this long doesn't mean that it's not, she hasn't been really doing it for longer.
Yeah.
I think the controversy comes from there's a weird timeline problem. So, for instance, she won the Dragula competition like 2 or 3 years ago. So people are like, wait, bitch, you won this in 2014. You won Dragula. So I think it's when she considers herself having done it officially.
I think there's a producer involved in this. That's a storyline, because it's also setting off the other queens. So I think by her even saying it, other queens are getting mad about it, which is a story, a storyline.
I think the part of the problem is, too, I think it could have been a weird joke she was making, because when Valentina said it, she said it in response to Kimora Black when they walked in the workroom. So Kimora Black at some point says, I've been doing this for 10 years. And then Valentina says, I've been doing this for 10 months. And I think it's one of these things where people saw that as a receipt, but maybe she was just like, oh, I haven't been doing it that long. And she said 10 months because she had said 10 years. Who knows? Does that
I have a
make
question.
Sense? Yes?
Who's Kimora Black?
Kimora Black is a contestant on season 9 of RuPaul's Drag Race.
I'm kidding. When you said that, when you said Kimora Black for a split second, I had to go, who's Kimora Black? Like, I had to think about it. Like, oh, yeah, she was like the second one that went home. Okay. Second or third.
Annoying is...
Yes, horrible. I blocked her out of my brain.
Yeah, totally.
After giving the girls a chance to peruse the script, Peppermint asks the girls to name their preferred roles. Aja has a couple of characters in mind.
I kind of like all of them, but like my favorites are Mirror, Mana Darton, or Blenda, because they're both bitchy and nasty.
Okay. Grandrea Zuckerwoman will be played by Aja.
That was none of my pick.
I know that.
Don't roll your eyes. It's gonna be good.
It's just frustrating because I always land a role that I don't want.
Let's just make this work.
Can I go on a smoke break?
Are you that stressed out?
Yeah, I don't want to be Grandrea.
Girl, you gotta grow up and accept the challenge.
I don't have to.
If it's going to be that tense, I'll take Grandrea, and she...
No, you don't have to, because it's not your detriment.
What I'm saying is, I can...
You know what? I'm making a decision. You two are swapping roles.
I don't want to be
You're swapping roles.
I know, but I'm not trying to...
You already said you're stressed. I know how you feel. But now, what role do you have?
Bethany.
Are you cool with that?
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Like, I don't mean to.
Let's rehearse.
Claudia, what were your thoughts on that little episode on Aja's part?
I sort of came to love Aja when she left on Untucked and kind of how graceful she was, but this is Aja getting in her own way. This is when people sabotage themselves. And she made a stink, and then Peppermint was kind and gracious enough, and then she sucked even in the role she fought for. You know what I mean? So it's just Aja shooting herself in the foot.
Taylor?
My focus on this is not necessarily Aja. It's how well Peppermint handled it. In that the way Peppermint managed, as far as she was trying to give everybody the roles. Obviously, she couldn't give the role to Aja, but did fine, you want to do this? Fine, we're going to switch it around. You two switch. All right, we're done talking about it. No more. We're done. Sort of thing. And I have respect. There is something, while it can come off sort of as bitchy, there is something very mature about that as far as that. I'm not going to get into this where we then spend the next hour bitching when you've just got what you wanted. You know, we're just going to, I have the last word. This is what's happening. Let's move on. And that was my primary focus, just because of the whininess of Aja. I couldn't take that, so I chose to focus on Peppermint instead. But I thought Peppermint handled it beautifully. And props to Shay for jumping in and going, I'll take it. I'll take it if, you know, and even if that's whether that was I just want to help out Aja, or I recognize that's a meteor role and I have a chance to grab it. Either way, that was the best thing Shay could have done.
Shay is like slow and steady wins the race, man. I think just like you didn't see him or I didn't see her on the top, and then now she's just like every week I think gets better and better.
Mm-hmm. I just love, you're a mess when Aja starts throwing the tantrum and you hear Nina in the background go, "You're in your head, girl."
That's a very good point.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa, if Nina Bonina Brown's telling you you're acting crazy.
Nina popped out of her own head to go, "Girl, you're in your head."
It's like two thought bubbles. Sorry, I just loved, what did Peppermint say? I think it was like, now you look like a bitch playing a bitch in the last scene. And I just was like, Peppermint, I totally agree. She just came off even more charming than she's winning for me that like audience favorite, charm, lovable, working hard. Yeah, Peppermint came off beautifully.
Yeah.
Poor Aja, it's one of the things where I also think there's an edit thing going on, because there's a part where she says, "I don't have to," and it sounds like a hard edit. Like, I feel like the question that she was really answering was like, why do you feel you have to play this character? And then she says, "I don't have to." It didn't sound like it didn't sound like it didn't sound. I wish I can find it again. It didn't sound like what you would say to that question. Let me play it right here. So, trust me. That's all I'll say. That's weird. Okay. Thank you. All right. During rehearsals, Nina Bonina Brown butts heads with guest directors Tori Spelling and Jenny Garth.
Maybe at this new school, you shouldn't be such a bitch. Where are the cool people at in the school?
Cut, Nina. Maybe try it with like a different tone.
Where are the cool people at this school?
No. Maybe lose the pause before at.
Where are the cool people at this school?
Where are the cool people at?
Where are the cool people in this school? The girl-to-boy ratio here blows.
Nina, I would recommend maybe articulating a little bit more on that line.
The girl-to-boy ratio blows.
Hey, Nina, the girl-to-boy ratio. Just make sure that we can really understand your words.
I said that, but okay. I know what's going on.
Shit. She's gonna kill me. But I can't understand a word she's saying.
All right, Taylor, what were your thoughts on Nina Bonina? Can you bring your therapist hat to this? What were your thoughts on Nina Bonina Brown's role here?
I don't really know, other than I think that you have I don't want to get too deep into it, but I think you have a racial thing going on in that they were having difficulty understanding a black woman, in this case as Nina, understanding what she was saying, but they were trying to figure out a way to say it in a way that was racially sensitive, but Nina was like, I know what's going on. You don't understand my speech. And
is that what you think she was meant?
That's exactly what I got. What did you think she meant?
I thought she meant, remember I told you, I think she thinks the producers are out to get her. So in her head, in her cuckoo town head, she was like, I know what's going on here. The producers are telling them to say that to me so that I lose it.
No, and maybe it's because I get what the line was, but you can also see that they seem to have difficulty explaining to her how to say the line so that it made sense. In particular, the line "this school." You know, I forget what the line is, but it's something where it just sounded like it was very, I don't know how to say this without sounding racist.
You're from Florida. It's too late.
I didn't. Okay, never mind.
I'm from Texas. I can't say anything.
Yeah, I think that there are ways that she could have received better direction from them had they just said, "Look, we don't understand what you're saying." Instead of the whole whispering, like, I don't understand what you're talking about.
Oh, really? You're surprised that Jenny Garth and Tori Spelling aren't good directors? I'm going to tell you something, actually. Because I had people coming over on Friday, I had to watch the episode early at my friend Chris and Mercedes' house. They have DirecTV, and Chris is a film director. And I was sitting there with him, and he was watching it with me, and he was like, when they were doing that, he was like, why they're doing fine. What are they doing? He was evaluating Tori Spelling and Jenny Garth's directing skills. Oh, wow. And I was like, Chris, it's just a reality show. They're just doing it for the camera. He's like, I know, but they're doing fine. Why are they picking on them? They're just picking on little things. And I was like, yeah, that's his show. Sorry.
Claudia? No, but I think that makes sense as far as the part of the role of the producer is to fuck with the contestants. And in that regards, it does make sense.
You're making my point that I said about Nina.
Absolutely. I understand that. But when I was watching it, my thought was, you've got a couple of white girls that can't figure out how this black girl is speaking. But they didn't want to say that because of how it could come off.
Okay. I know what's going on. Claudia.
Yeah. Watching it as a white girl, like a blonde white girl who grew up, I didn't grow up Beverly Hills or anything, but in Texas, I was seeing two white girls get very uncomfortable saying that phonetically or your speech is not articulate enough. I think that's what they were trying to say. And rather than saying hey, if the line is where are the boys at the school, just own that line and say it that way, how you would say it or something, but I agree. I feel like I keep going, yes, Taylor, but that they were getting uncomfortable, and then they turned into such the little white girls. They're like, I don't think she likes you. When they did that, that's such a girl to be like, she's mad at you. I think why doesn't she like me? That they did that, which then I thought made them seem silly and a bit ridiculous and then I think that's what made Nina feel uncomfortable too, because if she couldn't hear them, there's whispering, and that's the girly, they're talking about me, and now I feel insecure when I already feel insecure. So I didn't think it was a producer thing as much. I thought it was a speech thing, and Jenny Garth couldn't have been feeling more uncomfortable trying to correct it.
That's
what I thought.
Well, no, I don't disagree. It's funny that I didn't pick. It's funny that the person of color that I am, and we all know no one's more down with the people of color than me, that I didn't pick up on that. I didn't pick up on that at all. Maybe because, maybe there is a sort of thing where it is sort of like the white guilt, where I'm like, why don't you just tell her? Why don't you just say, what's funny is maybe to speak to your points, is in the confessionals they had Shea Coulee talk, or no, I think Peppermint actually. Peppermint, one of the two black girls. They had one of them talking about how difficult it was to understand Nina and that she wasn't articulating. And so maybe that sort of speaks to your point that even the producers were sensitive about it and they didn't know how to address that.
So they pushed Jenny Garth and Tori Spelling out to do it for them?
Yeah, of course.
Wasn't it a challenge with Adora Delano or someone like that, where they've had people that they couldn't understand. Nobody ever understood Cynthia Lee Fontaine ever, and it would have probably been fine saying that, but I think that might have been some white guilt. I don't want to be inappropriate.
It's so funny that it happened last week actually, during Snatch Game, when Cynthia Lee Fontaine made a joke as Sofia Vergara, where RuPaul said to her, "I don't know what she said, but I think there was a joke in there." Yeah. So I maybe there is line that's clear for people who were not born in this country, so it's sort of understood that they are going to have an accent. Whereas someone where Nina Bonina Brown she's a native English speaker and she's having trouble articulating, so there's more sensitivity there. I don't know. That's a really interesting point.
Think about like people like I think Kenya Michaels was difficult to understand, and Yara Sofia sometimes when they would talk they were very difficult. So considering, what is that?
Is everything okay?
A random commercial just played somewhere in my office, and I can't figure out where the hell it's coming from.
Well, I didn't want to tell you this, Taylor. Without your knowledge, I'm trying to raise money for the show. I had your office sponsored. Today, Taylor's office is brought to you by Squarespace.
I don't know where the hell it just came from. That's really weird.
You look like you'd seen it. You were just like, what?
Well, because all of a sudden there's a voice in my room, and it's talking about like Allstate Insurance. So that's why. What the fuck? Where did that come from? All of his stuff is out of the room, except for his computer.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know what I was talking about.
You scared the shit out of me because in Trump's America, I always think we're in danger of a nuclear war. So I was like, oh shit, we're under nuclear attack. Thank God it's in Orlando, not here.
Okay, but I don't live in Orlando.
Do you want to announce where you live, Taylor? Do you want to announce where you live? Do you want to give us your
Everybody
address?
knows I live in St. Petersburg. That's fine.
Which is also a city in Russia?
Yes. Great. Now I need new identity.
You just got married in Russia.
Yeah. So that's why you got so scared there for an Allstate commercial.
Because Russia loves same-sex marriage. They're thrilled that two guys or two comrades are getting married in St. Petersburg.
Wasn't it funny that just an hour ago, your boyfriend, your husband was in good hands?
Okay, all right.
And then an Allstate commercial came on? Do you like how I'm standing like a little teapot?
I don't know what I was talking about before. It really doesn't matter.
You were talking about Kenya Michaels. You were talking about Kenya Michaels and her accent and Yara Sofia.
But somebody like Cynthia in particular, who that's part of the joke of Cynthia, is that you don't understand half of what she's saying. That would get a pass more than somebody like Nina, who that's not part of her persona. Cynthia, and even when you've got people like Kenya Michaels and stuff that are this crazy sort of thing, that's part of the allure of them. That's part of what people like about them. Whereas with Nina, that might be part of the issue.
Claudia, have any final thoughts on this?
I think we sort of summed it up. Yeah. This is a bad example, but
I agree with you, Claudia, that Taylor beat this dead horse.
No, but I was like, I've seen this happen on America's Top Model. I don't know if I'm outing myself on that, where they do like the CoverGirl challenge, and then there's this we just need you to articulate in a way, and it's always like a black girl from the South usually, or sometimes maybe Brooklyn or something. But they've done that thing where we're trying to dance around. Can you sound a little bit different? And I think it makes people uncomfortable, as I'm probably doing a little right now. And I think that was the issue. And then that's why Jenny Garth got really like me. I
think this is super interesting. I'm going to close it out here, but I didn't pick up on any of that at all. I really, really didn't. But whatever. On the main stage, the judges watched the performance of the girls. Most of the girls performed well, with Trinity Taylor and Shea Coulee as standouts among the cast. Sasha Velour, Aja, and Nina Bonina Brown stood out, but for the wrong reasons. Ladies, can we close it out here? Any final thoughts here on Beverly Hills 90210? Have we covered everything you guys want to talk about with this acting challenge? Taylor. No, I'm sorry, Claudia. Claudia.
Oh. No, I feel really covered. I totally agree. I don't really love Trinity, but she killed it. Shea Coulee was great. I think Sasha Velour just had to be in the bottom because they needed 3, but it was always going to be Aja and Nina Bonina. So,
Taylor?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Sasha, the critique they gave her as far as, the drunken lunch lady, she could have really pushed that, and that had the potential to be a winning role. And she's mentioned in the past that she's not necessarily a comedy queen, and I think that really showed here.
Actually, I was going to do this later, but why don't we do this right here? From a deleted scene, RuPaul had a conversation with Sasha Velour.
Hey, Sasha.
Hi, RuPaul.
Tell me about your character.
I'm playing Lunch Lady Cat, and she is the local alcoholic.
Oh!
And she's gonna get the girls in some trouble and guide them on their way.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Now, how do you develop a character? I know you have a background in acting. Are you more Stanislavski or more method?
Stanislavski.
Which means you do a lot of research on who this person is. What did she have for breakfast?
Lunch Lady Cat eats cigarettes for breakfast with vodka.
Uh-huh.
And then at lunch, she drinks half a milkshake and a bucket of fries.
All right. I was talking to Taylor about this earlier. I watched this deleted scene. I got so angry. I was like, RuPaul, that stupid bitch. Stanislavski and the method are the same fucking thing. They're the same fucking thing. That's what the method is named for, the Stanislavski method. And then, but that also goes to like the Lee Strasberg and me. Claudia, did you ever take any acting classes?
Yeah, all of a sudden I was like, what was the Lee Strasberg? No, that's Sense Memory.
Well, yeah, because Strasberg and like Stella Adler all come from, it's all born from Stanislavski.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they just are the Americans that like took it to heart and like brought it to life, kind of thing, in America in the 40s and 50s.
Yeah, you wouldn't use those people to like differentiate between the method and Stanislavski. Like they're all one school, and then there's like that old weird British school of acting where you just like Olivier would do it, where you just put on the costume and you sort of feel it, and then you become the character, and they don't do any kind of method stuff. That's sort of like the old school. That would see those two things. But Taylor, where do you fall? Are you a more method actor, or are you more full in like the Olivier school?
I'm from the Betance school of podcasting, where I just make fun of my fellow actors. I don't know. That was a dumb joke. I was going to say something else, but I chose not to. Thank you.
I'm gonna put awkward music.
Scene.
I'm gonna put awkward music on your episode.
You have to put the.
Oh wait, hold on. Wait,
the shade button. We don't use the shade button anymore. We need to use the shade button more often.
I know. I should have had it ready for that. Just kept it quiet. Okay, so let's move on. It's elimination day, and the girls are back in the workroom, getting ready for the runway. Pheromone recites one of her lines from the acting challenge, and that naturally leads to a conversation about cancer.
In high school, my grandmother got sick. She had cancer. So the last 2 years of high school, I'd quit school to take care of my grandmother and just homeschool myself. My mother died when I was 8 from complications of HIV. She was in the wrong business. She was an exotic dancer. She did drugs. So I was raised by my grandparents, and my grandmother got terminally ill when I was 16 and died when I was 18.
I've lost so many relatives to cancer.
Oh.
My dad has multiple myeloma, which is in the bone marrow. One day, he gave me a call, and he's like, I just want to let you know that I love you regardless. I know that you're just an artist, that this is your expression. And it was the most validating experience I'd ever had. Oh.
Right after I graduated from college, my mom was diagnosed with cancer. Chemo made her lose all of her hair. I am a bald queen to represent for my mother. Taking all of that and turning that into drag in my own way was the most important thing I've ever done in my life.
Taylor?
We watched this in our house, and my husband was sitting next to me, and he was just like, oh my God, do they all have to talk about cancer in this episode? It felt very heavy-handed.
The week after Cynthia leaves.
Right.
Where they're like, they've been holding it in. They're like,
oh no.
It's kind of, we can't bring this up around Cynthia. Where they're like, oh yay, Cynthia, hooray, you beat cancer. And they're like, everybody we know has died from cancer. Like, you can't beat this thing. She's gone, so we can say it.
I think that, speaking as a former hospice counselor, what they were saying, a lot of the stuff they were saying, especially ones that worked with kids. So you're dealing with Trinity, who was a teenager, and was Sasha a teenager when her mom got sick?
She had just graduated from college.
Okay. Well, so a young person. A lot of the ways that they expressed themselves and they talked about things felt very true to experiences that I've had observing other people who had a loved one who had cancer in the past.
They all do drag?
They all do drag. They all do things like, I've had people whose moms or grandmoms have lost all their hair, so then you go to visit and suddenly they've got a shaved head. Mm-hmm. Or, ones that do go into art, go into some sort of artistic expression, whether it's music, whether it's acting, whether it's, doing some sort of medium like painting or sketching, that kind of stuff. So,
do you think it's because they feel they have they realize how precious life is?
I think it's different for every person. I mean, some people...
No, speak for every person, please.
For every person, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's the same. The illness and death of a loved one is the exact same for every single person in the world.
I don't agree, but everyone, Taylor the Latte Boy, official therapist, said it, so it must be true.
So it must be true. It must be true if Taylor's saying it.
Yeah. Claudia, what were your thoughts?
Well, we know that the mirror workroom is where we sort of have these revelations, but this was really sad, and I feel that it really sort of saw, much in the way like sort of Peppermint letting everyone in the workroom know that she's trans, for Trinity, because it wasn't said, but it sounds like her mother probably the drugs and maybe prostitution, and I'm not the biggest Trinity fan as a person, but it warmed me, and I could see her toughness because she's raised herself, and you know what I mean? So for me, it was the side of Trinity that I think that they were waiting to show, because I think she's a very strong contender for, going all the way.
Yeah, Joe, I know that you kind of made it as a joke, but I'm almost wondering if what you said about Cynthia, where none of them really wanted to talk about that because of the elephant in the room, if there isn't an element of truth to that.
I wasn't saying it as a joke.
Oh, see, I took it as a joke.
No, I was being completely serious. It was completely one of these things. Well, look, let me make my point first, and I'll address that. These mirror moments are so fucking artificial now. They're so not organic. They're so obviously producer engineered. I made a joke about it. Like, how do you go from talking about prom to... I know how they did it. They said Trinity said she didn't experience high school because of this cancer thing. But why wouldn't someone naturally... I mean, it didn't seem very organic. Did it seem organic to you, too, Claudia? No. Did it seem organic to you?
No, they know. I mean, I think the producers are sitting there and I think they feed someone a line, and then someone knows, and I don't think they know how it's going to get edited in. And I sometimes wonder if they're even preparing for the challenge we're seeing. They just all have to at some point reveal deep, dark truths of themselves. No, it's completely producer, and it's become a reality show like trope that if it's someone's going to either win or lose the challenge, we will see something very personal about them come up. And my husband and I watch Top Chef all the time, and the minute somebody has like a kid that's sick or a mom that's dying, we're like, you're either winning this or you're going home.
Yeah.
Like that's the way they do it.
Well, that's Top Model. That's Top Model, where they say, last week I didn't do as well as, and I really need to show Tyra that I can go above and beyond. Well, bitch, you're going home now. We know that for a fact. The first person they always show is usually the one that goes home on Top Model. The first interview they do.
So it is produced, but some of their stories still break my heart, and last year, was it Korea Kimchi? Just her story, and when people tell their stories of not ever telling their parents or coming out with drag by being on the show, a lot of these queens have really sad stories, and so I think that they have realized that is part of the messaging, and that they do have a lot of a teen audience and things like that. So it's produced, but I think it's got value.
But I don't remember actually. I mean, I remember the kimchi moment, but I don't remember how it felt to me. But in my head, in my memory, it felt more organic than this. It did this season. It's every mirror moment has felt so producer involved, and this is one of them. So going into what Taylor said earlier is, I think there was a whole let's wait for Cynthia to be gone, and then we'll have the big we lost people to cancer talk. So. I think it's super weird. I almost wonder if this was the Mother's Day episode, because it was heavily they were because Shay's was his father, but
his father.
Trinity and Sasha talked about their mothers, and then in Untucked there was another discussion about mothers when Pheromone's mother contacted her, and there was another discussion on Valentina's mother. So it was very heavily mothered. So I'm almost wondering if they thought, okay, this might be a Mother's Day episode, or what they were sort of thinking here.
Well, you figure the series got pushed back a couple of weeks.
So maybe not. Yeah, maybe it's just like maybe they what could easily have happened was that they just realized, wow, there's a lot of mother talk going on, and so they just sort of made it a very mother-centric episode. Because also, one thing we know about the show, it doesn't have a light touch. So if it was going to be a Mother's Day episode, it would have been a mother runway theme, and the song would have been "Don't Call Me Mother." You know, like it would have been like they would have knocked you over the head with the mother stuff, and they didn't. So there you go. All right. After the judges' critiques, Trinity Taylor was named the winner of the challenge, while Nina Bonina Brown and Aja faced off during the lip sync. In a lip sync battle that continues to rage on the internet, Nina Bonina Brown narrowly beat Aja, who was told to sashay away. Ladies, any thoughts on the lip sync? We'll go with Claudia. We kind of touched on this earlier, but Claudia, what were your thoughts on this lip sync?
The whole thing, Trinity Taylor killed it in 90210. I was not can I stop seeing her ass? Like, that can't be her fashion. I'm sorry, you get 1, 2 of those. She's got a great ass, that's fine. But her hair, it was kind of jungle, Barbarella. I don't know. There were so many better looks on the runway, so therefore I didn't think she should have won. But she was the best by far in the acting. But Aja won that lip sync. I didn't even think it was close. I thought Nina Bonina, I didn't think she sucked. It wasn't Charlie. But I mean, Aja won, and Aja's look was the best she's ever looked. It was the best she's ever looked. The hair was great. The makeup was great. The Alexander McQueen, I was so mad. I'm not over it.
Taylor?
I would agree with much of what Claudia is saying. I think that, though I would say that I think it was closer than I think Claudia thinks it was as far as the lip sync, I do think that Aja was the better of the two. Not only with look, but also with lip syncing. I mean, one thing that we knew going into this season, that Aja is known for lip syncing. That is something that she's known for in New York. And when she was up against Kimora, that's who she sent home, was Kimora, right? I remember turning to Babalu and saying, we're good. Kimora's going home because Aja's so good. So had I not known going on who was going to, I would have been probably more outraged than I was watching the lip sync. But I would agree that between the two, Aja was definitely the winner. Plus, honestly, just in storyline alone, if we're going by the storyline thing, Nina, we get it. You're in your head. It's time to go on. Whereas Aja was continuing, like Claudia was saying, kind of continuing that rise of figuring out where the whole, Valentina, you are beautiful from the beginning to where she is now. There was potential for growth there. And whereas with Nina, I think we've seen everything we're going to see out of Nina at this point as far as storyline goes.
Oh, I'm sorry. They're giving Peppermint growth. They're giving Shea Coulee growth. Why are Alexis and Pheromone still there if Aja is seeing... I wasn't the biggest fan, but in that face-off, if it had been Sasha, that would have been different. And I don't know how great Sasha, a lip syncer, she is, but I just think Nina Bonina Brown's time has come.
I think people would be really shocked to know, because it seems so subjective when Ru's doing it, but there's actually, strangely, there's numbers to back this up, that Ru has numbers behind her, when not literally behind her. She's using there is some sort of number system she's basing it on when she judges who wins and who goes home, and so and that she uses them in close cases like this. So in the lip sync, Nina Bonina Brown's never lip synced before. Aja has lip synced once before. It was close, so Aja goes home. It's very cut and dry like that with RuPaul. She just weighs who's lip synced more if it's close, and then that person goes home. If it's close. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens in future. I mean, unless the person really, really screws up. Then
Lena hasn't lip synced
before? No, Lena hasn't lip synced before. This is her first time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, oh wait, maybe she did.
No. It was Peppermint and Cynthia Lee. It was Kimora. It was Charlie and Trinity.
Who was the first people lip sync were James and Kimora,
right?
Then it was
James and Kimora.
Then it was Kimora and Trinity.
Aja.
No, Kimora and Aja.
Oh yeah, it was Kimora and Aja.
That's when she looked like Mr. Heatmiser.
Okay. Then it was Trinity and
Charlie.
No, it was Charlie versus
Trinity.
Oh yeah, Trinity. That was episode 3. Episode 4 was...
Was it the Kardashian
Peppermint.
one? Was it Cynthia Lee?
No. We're at episode 7. We're missing... Who's gone that we're missing?
Well, Eureka. Remember, Eureka saved...
Oh, Eureka saved
Farrah
Cynthia and Farrah.
Cynthia.
That was episode 4. Episode 5 was...
That wasn't Snatch. That would have been Kardashian. I thought that's when Cynthia was on the bottom.
Yeah, that was... No, Eureka was Kardashian. You're right. So who's episode 4? Oh, no. I got it wrong. I know what's wrong. There was no lip sync for episode 1. So episode 1 is... There was nothing. No one went home. Episode 2 is when James went home. Episode 3 is when Kimora went home. Episode 4 is when Charlie went home. Episode 5 is when Eureka went home. Blah, 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 blah. Episode 6 was Cynthia going home. Episode 7 was today, Aja.
Okay.
So now we figured out. So yeah, Trinity has not lip synced.
Okay.
And so in that simple mathematics, because, a queen that always comes up is people always want to know, why did Tyra win, or why did Violet Chachki win? Why wasn't it Ginger? Why wasn't it Raven? And when you actually look at the numbers for every season, people have crunched these numbers. It's the person that has the biggest numbers pulls it out and wins. It seems like RuPaul really does have some sort of numbering system and points and whatnot, and that person wins.
But she's never admitted to that. No. You can figure out who winners are going to be before the season's over.
Yeah. No. But she's never admitted to this, but it seems to be the case. So, like, Tyra is a good example. Like, Tyler ekes out a win, I think. No, I actually think with Tyra, when they did the numbers, I think Tyra actually has the biggest gap of anyone, like, between Tyra and whoever second place is.
Raven.
Raven in history. And I think Violet Chachki is a good one too, where Violet Chachki, when you look at the numbers alone, has bigger numbers than Ginger or Pearl.
Well, I mean, look at Bianca. Bianca never lip synced her season.
Well, that leads to points.
Wasn't this last finale the first time, or maybe that they had them all lip sync during the finale, the final 3? And I think that is partly because of Bianca. We never saw that, and I think, as a fan, I love the lip sync. I want to see lip sync. I want to see death drops. I want to see interpretations. Like, I have favorite lip syncs as we all do. So I think that it's valuable to see them, and I don't mind seeing them a couple times, because sometimes, like, they own a lip sync when they don't. What was it, Dita, that did the Natalie Cole?
Yes. Dita Ritz.
Dita Ritz. It's like one of the best lip syncs ever.
Yeah.
She wasn't great, but I love seeing that, and I prefer someone who can perform over just look cool.
Well, but Bob did lip sync on their season as that was he that the oh shit, what song did they lip sync? I don't remember. It was up against Derek. I remember that.
Oh, Derek Barry, yeah.
All right, ladies, any final thoughts on the episode? Anything we missed out? Anything you might want to mention that I didn't mention?
No.
Claudia?
I'm just a little bit perplexed that Farrah and Alexis are still here, but...
Well, okay, that actually brings up, because now we're at the top 8. So, and we're starting to see some definite the separation of who, and of who's going to be there through the end, who's not going to be there. So, I guess I challenge both of you to who are the next 4 that are going to go away? Not necessarily in any particular order, but if you can split it down the middle between the top 4 versus the next 4 to go home, who are going to be in that top 4 and who's not going to be?
Let's start with Claudia. She's our guest.
Okay, I think it's hard because I've listened and I've heard some things, but if I were just like heart of hearts, I want Valentina, Peppermint, Sasha, and Trinity, but I think Shay is a strong one. Could not one of those out. Like, it might be Shay takes out Sasha or Shay takes out Peppermint, but I think Trinity and Valentina are like, I'm looking at my notes, are my favorite. Not my favorites. I think they're the strongest right now.
Okay. Joe?
I think we're going to lose Farrah. So Farrah, Valentina, Alexis, and who am I missing? Because I'm thinking top 4 are going to be Shay, Sasha, Trinity, and I'll go with Alexis. So that means the remaining 4 I'm thinking are going to are Peppermint. I feel like I'm missing one.
Nina.
Oh,
Nina.
Yeah, Peppermint, Nina, and
Valentina,
and Farrah are going.
I feel like he knows something we don't know.
Oh.
Well, don't ask me questions.
I'm not asking questions, so you don't have to tell me no lies.
Now, Taylor, what do you think?
I think the bottom four, the next ones that we're going to see go are going to be, I think Nina at some point is going to go. Farrah, in particular, talk about the luckiest bitch on television right now. She's got to go soon. She really brings nothing to the show. So who's the first person I said?
Farrah does bring
Nina.
Nina, Farrah.
Goodness.
Nina, Farrah. I think Sasha. I think there's going to be some sort of another comedy thing, and Sasha is going to trip her up. And as much as I hate to say it, I think the fifth one to go is going to be Peppermint.
Oh, you want it in order?
No, I'm just. I think that of the next couple of episodes, Farrah's got to be out of there. If not the next episode, the episode after that, unless something really happens where she pulls something out of her ass. She's just kind of there at this point.
She and Alexis are like, instead of a basic bitch, they're like basic queens. You know, like they're perfectly fine, but like they're not bringing anything extra. They're like.
I would agree with that. As much as I love Alexis, there's something about Alexis now that gets under my skin a little bit. I think that we definitely think that we're better than everybody else, not because we're more talented, but we just feel like we are almost of better breeding kind of thing, if that makes sense. Of what we're a theater queen versus the other ones are club queens, or which I know they just did that. A couple of them just did that song, which is horrible. That CLAT song. It's Alexis. It's Alexis, Aja, Peppermint, and Sasha. It's kind of almost like the Read You Wrote You song, but they're talking about Club Queen. Club Queen, the L1.
Looks? No.
No.
I don't know.
Art Queen and Theater Queen. It's CLAT is what it's called, and the video is dumb, and it's not a good song. I was hoping for something better, but there's something particularly about Alexis's part that is very 1998 drag queen, if that makes sense.
And it's so funny. I almost pulled this from Untucked, but when like Trinity has a moment where she says, "My biggest competitors, one of them is sitting right here," and it's Alexis is sitting with her and Valentina clearly as a joke starts posturing like, I know you're going to say it's me, and so
I don't think that was posturing.
Oh, I think she was being funny. I think she was being funny. And Trinity she's looking at Valentina when she says one of them sitting right here, and then Valentina starts posturing, and so Trinity to be, cunty to Valentina and put her in her place, you can see her mind working, changes it to Alexis, just to sort of stick it to Valentina. But what's funny is Alexis doesn't pick up on it. She just thinks that's natural. Yes, of course. Yeah, I am your biggest competition. Like she's not even humble about it. She's not like, oh girl, I'm not. No, it's like, yes, that's true. It's like, I am.
Well, but also I feel like, yeah, Alexis's belief in herself, like, kudos. But I also agree a little bit, like, with the editing, and Valentina gets a beautiful edit. And, like, when they were making Alexis be super nerding out and telling everybody, like, this is what they did on 90210, and you should be more like this, and they were making her look lame. So part of me knows I could be influenced that she's not getting the best edit. She seems like the dork of the queens. Is that kind of harsh? But
There was years ago, I watched a thing with Janine Garofalo where she was commenting on things that had happened on the Oscars, and Glenn Close came out, I guess, to give Best Picture Oscar or something like that, and she was like, it was right when when she was in Sunset Boulevard the first time, and it was something where Janine Garofalo was doing like the voiceover in her head of what was going on in Glenn Close, and she was like, I am theater. I get that from Alexis Michelle when she walks into places where she just thinks, the stage is my life, and this is who I am, and girl, calm down.
Would you still have sex with her?
Alexis Michelle? Absolutely. She's so cute. She's so cute as a boy. She's so my type.
She's a cute boy. She is cute. The little bald spot when she turned around, I was like, it sort of shocked me, because you never sort of
that's an odd with the weird like half moon hair in the front, but I don't know.
I feel like queens are better with like getting their look and working their look. You know, that seems like a very straight guy kind of thing.
But also think about when the head-on interviews, you don't see that, and it's cute. But you know, there was a couple of weeks ago. I notice a lot of times when they're getting ready, they don't ever. Whereas a lot of them, they show their chest. They don't ever show her chest, and she's clearly. You can see this episode where she had on the tank top and stuff. She's kind of soft. And
she's lost a tremendous amount of weight.
Right, and that's what I was going to say, is she has a lot of... one time they caught her for a split second, because I always look for the shirtless ones that I like, and they caught her kind of from the back, and she had definite hanging skin from her back. So I wonder if that is if she's very self-conscious about that, if that's something where she has said, please don't shoot me from, you know...
Oh, yeah, because they listen...
Yeah, I know, but I mean that's all. There's that, and then there's and I don't know, but she's so cute.
Taylor, let me ask you this question. Let's say you met a guy, he's super cute. You were single. You're single. This is single Taylor days, not taken Taylor.
Okay.
And you met a guy and he lost some weight, and then you find out he had lost a tremendous amount of weight and he had this excess skin. Would that dissuade you from sleeping with him?
No.
Claudia?
I think it wouldn't totally dissuade me, but there'd be a part of the mental, like, he's a great guy, and he's working hard, but I think I'd be a little bit like, oh, okay. I'm just being honest. Yeah. But we have a friend that dated somebody that had excess skin, and when they broke up and he was a bit of a... she talked about it, but, like, it didn't stop her. I can see that, yeah.
Oh, tell me afterwards.
You totally know.
I think I know who it is.
You totally know.
I know who it is.
Please.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I know who it is. So she didn't care? She didn't care?
She never mentioned it until they broke up and he was a bit of a dick at the end,
Oh, interesting.
So I'm thinking out loud as I'm saying this. I'm like, no. But if they broke up with me and were an asshole, then yeah, I would totally.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Is that horrible?
Yeah, no.
A little.
It is kind of horrible. But I appreciate it, though. I appreciate your honesty. Well, actually, on that note, let's go to Taylor with the looks.
Yeah, let's do the looks. So this week, as we mentioned before, the category was big hair realness. And the first look we're going to actually talk about is RuPaul, who was in a baby blue and pink velour dress, a kind of, I guess, sort of empire. Not really empire, because there has a belt to it. Claudia, what do you think about this look? Think about the look, think about her hair, think about everything.
It's fine. I get that it's going in the 9021 90s, that color. It's on theme. She just looks so much better than this. So it's perfectly fine. The hair, she could just do so much more. I would have loved like a Bride of Frankenstein sort of like big hair thing. So, but the hair, once again, I didn't dislike it. I saw it and I saw the colors and I was like, 90s, 9210, but I didn't love it.
Yeah. Joe?
Well, her makeup is great this week. I wonder if this is the Raven and Delta work week. But I think her makeup's good. It's back to normal, kind of good. I don't understand what's going on with the wigs. I have big problems with the wigs. Yeah. And I don't like this wig. And the outfit, yeah, they're going for a 90s thing, so she's going to wear that. It's not her fiercest look, but whatever.
It seemed it's very basic for her.
Yes.
So, and I don't understand, if we're going to do a big hair challenge, wear big hair. She's had much bigger hair than this in other episodes. And you could get to the, I'm the queen of the big hair by having some enormous, just ridiculous, and the fact it was a missed opportunity. As we've talked about with a lot of the contestants, I thought she really could have gone crazy with this one. So first up on the runway is Aja wearing a McQueen-inspired corset with the weight, just crazy. I don't even know how to describe it other than it's crazy and very McQueen. So, Joe, what are your thoughts on Aja's look?
I really liked it. I like the wig. Her makeup is a lot better. She seems to solve the makeup problem. And I like the outfit. I give it a toot.
Okay. Claudia?
Yeah, loved it. Loved that sort of dominatrix-y, almost skeletal, corseted 18th century, all of that. Like the hair, I thought worked really, really well. Her makeup was the best I've seen it. She looked beautiful. I thought this was on the runway. She didn't do well in the challenge, but this was a top look on the runway, I thought.
Yeah. So you give this a toot, I'm assuming?
Toot. Yes, a toot.
Yes, definitely a toot. This is the best she's looked. Her makeup in particular is soft, which is something we haven't seen with her. She didn't look like she took charcoal regrets and like rubbed them all over her face. I mean, it's just very soft, and the color is really good for her and everything. So I would definitely give this a toot as well. Next up is Sasha Velour, who came out with Punk with a big mohawk and a crazy lace type onesie with a leather jacket and some boots. And Claudia, what do you think about Sasha's look?
I just think at this point, like, I love Sasha's point of view, and I will say Sasha's makeup is always, like, her eyebrows. I am in love with what she does with her eyebrows and eye makeup. And saying big hair and doing Punk, like, that's cool. But at this point, we've seen her be bare-chested a lot. And so in the way they told, Benina, like, we need to see a different silhouette, I think we could see a different silhouette from her. And I didn't like the ponytail. It was fine. It was her personality, and I loved her makeup. But the kind of rocker, it was... I mean, I don't know if I want to give it a toot because I don't love it, but I do love her makeup. So, a light boot, a soft boot.
So a boot with reservation instead of a toot. So copyright Claudia for boot with reservation. Give it a boot. All right, Joe, what do you think about this look?
He did walk away, didn't he?
Did he really walk away?
He's not there.
No. Joe, are you there? Oh my God, he's such an asshole. He's such a fucking asshole.
Oh my God. Right. You and me, Taylor. Do it.
Joe loses out on toot and boot privileges this week. I have made an executive decision. I loved what they referred to when they were giving her critique was that she was on brand for her. So I kind of expected the unexpected with the mohawk on this. She reminds me very much of Storm from the X-Men. I know there was a look earlier this season that was very much that with the white shocking white hair. So this is kind of Storm's 80s look. I love this. I would definitely give this a toot.
I'm not mad at it. I just want to see her. It's the chest, and like all of that. But her from the head up, I'm like, she's fierce as,
Yeah. So did you just whisper fuck?
Yeah, I all of a sudden was like, can I say it? And fuck yeah, right?
We talked about me having sex an hour ago within the first 5 minutes of the show. You can say fuck. That's fine.
Oh my God, I'm a new mom. I'm so used to now like, oh wait, I'm maybe not supposed to swear anymore. Yeah.
Okay, that's it. I was thinking, is the baby in the room? Is that why you didn't say it? Okay, so next up is Valentina. Valentina is in a green, I guess you'd call it like not a pantsuit, but like a
That's a jumpsuit.
A jumpsuit?
It's a jumpsuit,
okay.
For sure.
And she said she was inspired by Diana Ross, but she has big, it looks like paper flowers in her hair. So what do you think about this look?
I think that it's beautiful, and Valentina's makeup is always flawless, but of all of her looks, this is less, to me, amazing. So it's totally a toot because she's a beautiful queen, and she really, her makeup, when she commits, she fully commits. Like, the hair is big in that Diana Ross way, and the flowers, but like, she was lovely. It's a toot because it's pretty, but I have loved other looks of hers so much more.
I'm not going to lie. I'm giving this a boot. This is probably one of my least favorite looks of hers. The hair is too thick. So when she did the thing where she kind of bounced around, it looked like one piece versus having any sort of flexibility to it. And the pantsuit, for her having such a beautiful, like, little slight body, the pictures that I'm looking at, it's not becoming at all. It's not flattering at all on her.
You know what? You're right on that because I think she doesn't cinch because she's a skinny, and so but she needs to cinch her waist in this to give her the curves, and I think she doesn't think she needs it. So I do agree that it's not flattering. Like this picture we're seeing of her, sort of like the side of you, I can't think of profile. You're like, girl, why do you look 20 pounds heavier than I know you are?
Right, and even like the big flowers in her hair and the flowers on the bottoms of the legs, it weighs her down. It just makes her. It feels like a very heavy outfit. And when you look at some of the others, we're going to talk about a couple of other people. They don't have that issue. Even if they're bigger girls, they don't have the issue that this outfit. This was a huge boot for me. I did not like it at all. So Joe has wandered back.
Do you really need me, though? Do you really need me?
Did we lose you? Or did you
lost me. You lost me.
Oh, because we thought you went away. We were going, fuck you, Joe. Fine, you don't get to say anything.
No, my internet went down. There's two internets, one downstairs and one upstairs, and the one downstairs is super spotty, and I'm downstairs. And so it went out and had to reconnect. It's super interesting to the audience. But I'm back, and so you guys go on without me, though. Sasha Velour boot. I disagree with you on I think Valentine looks great. I give it a 2.
Okay. Next up is Shea Coulee, who is wearing a very kind of Marie Antoinette Banshee with her rabbit fur jacket and her bathing suit, drinking a big gulp, and her pink big size wig. Claudia, what do you think about this?
She owned it. What did she say? She's bougie and banshee. Did she say that?
Yeah.
She put it. And the wig. Once again, she's really working a look, and she's owning it, rather than like when Pheromone puts on like that other one where she lets it own her kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And I think Shea Coulee, for someone whose skin she has more to work with, she's really great with her makeup. I've seen it a lot, but I feel I've seen this kind of look on her before. She just made it more banshee and pink and whatever. So I know I don't love it, but it's a good look. She's owned it. So the toot is for the owning, and she looks great. I'm like, it's a bathing suit. You know, it's a one piece, you know. So the accessorette, she's a toot on the accessories, kind of a boot on the main piece.
Does she pad her legs? Or is that her legs?
I didn't know you could pad legs that well.
Well, I mean, pad the butt. We could definitely see with Nina, where Nina does that crazy, booty shelf thing. But, I mean, because she's got great legs.
Great legs.
I'm a toot with reservation just because I'm really becoming Team Shea. When I first saw this, I thought that the bathing suit was actually like the British flag, but just in pinks and blues, like light pinks and blues. But now I'm looking, it's just a geometric pattern. But she's telling a distinctive story in this. I think Michelle talked about, I've seen these girls down waiting at the meat market at dawn, sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And I liked it. Joe, do you want to comment, or are we just moving on without you?
Toot.
Okay. All right. Next up is Pheromone with her big white wig, and she had on a blue spangly dress with the hip cut out the side, and it looks like the Cookie Monster's carcass wrapped around her shoulders. So, Claudia, what do you think?
You know what? I like this big hair. That was some Dolly Parton, realness, and it's got Barbara Mandrell kind of craziness. Once she sort of owned that, I was on board. And for Farrah, I think this is one of the best looks she's had. So I'm giving Farrah a toot. We all know how I feel about her. I want to give her the boot from the show. But for the runway and the big hairness, this was hair that I was like, oh, okay, this is ridiculous and big, and it had country dolly, so I toot on that.
If it wasn't for the fact that she talked about Dolly Parton in particular, I would have really, really hated this look. As it is now, I just hate it. It's definitely a boot. You know, for her being one of the younger queens, this ages her 15 years. She looks rough. Which, by the way, this kind of as an aside, somebody mentioned that the lighting during the runway on a previous email that we had gotten with the blues and pinks, they really stood out, that it's really distracting how much it takes away from the runway looks with the lighting this season. So, and this I think is an example of that, because she has on a big white wig, but here it looks pink, and I'm looking at it, looks like it's purple on the sides, and just, who's ever doing lighting, hopefully they will resolve this by season 10. I thought that the placement of the bare hip was odd, and it's just probably one of my least favorite looks of hers. I'm not a big Pheromone fan either. I want to be, but this did not go well for me. So, Joe, toot or boot?
Big toot. Probably the best she's ever looked.
Okay. So, next up is Trinity Taylor, who I don't even know how to describe what she's wearing. But it's a pantsuit, or a cat suit, where the bottoms flare out and then attach to the wrists, and she has this crazy 90s Central Florida drag queen hair. That's the only way it is. It is just the blowout of all blowouts. So, Claudia, what do you think?
I mean, going on theme with the big hair, because I think they said when she walked out, like, a kind of Barbarella thing. Mm-hmm. So she's doing that Jane Fonda 60s kind of. And, I mean, her makeup I like, but this outfit is such a boot. I don't know what it is. She just loves showing her ass, and she does have a great ass, but, like, they clock Nina Bonina for, like, the same silhouette. And how many times are we going to see her turn around and flash us? I don't know what is happening. I don't know what... there's, like, some tie-dye on it. There's a crisscross sort of lace on the boobs. There's... she's holding it with her wrists, and it's, like, bell-bottom. It's hideous. I hate this outfit. Yeah. I expect better from Trinity, because she is better than this. I can't believe she won wearing this.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So I'm assuming it's a boot.
That's a boot.
I would agree, boot too. There was too many things going on. I mean, I remember from the All-Star season, the flared up, the big flare pants that hold on. Roxy wore an outfit with a similar silhouette. The cooch wasn't cut out of it, but the rest of it, and looked amazing. Whereas this just looks trashy. There's just something about this that's just even like the ribbon belt looks like wrapping paper ribbon that she tied in a knot and then hung in front. It's just the whole look is just it's not good. So definite boot on this.
Such
Joe?
Space age. Yeah, it's horrible.
Horrible. It's a boot. It's awful.
It's a boot. Okay. So Peppermint. Peppermint was wearing a giraffe print with big, crazy Shaka Khan hair. I believe that's what was said when she came out. Joe, what are your thoughts on this? Toot or boot?
Toot. I loved it.
Okay.
I thought she looked great.
Claudia?
She's giving me, what she looked like? A fancy version of that friend from 227. Remember Marla Gibbs had that neighbor that was her friend?
Jack Hay?
Not Jack Hay. The other one, like the normal friend.
Telma Houston?
Nope.
Not Telma Houston. Telma Hopkins?
Nope.
No. Alana. Her name's Alana something.
Oh my goodness.
Telma Hopkins was on Give Me a Break.
Telma Hopkins was on Give Me a Break.
Which I think just makes me racist.
Also, here's the deal. Let me tell you this, too. Telma Hopkins was also one of the members of Dawn. With Tony Orlando and Dawn.
Yeah, Tony Orlando and Dawn.
Yeah.
Alana... Oh, God damn you. Now I got to look that up. So...
While he's looking that up, I'm going to tell you this. I thought she looked great. I thought she looked like the friend from 227. I was a big fan. And...
of 227 or Peppermint?
When I was a kid, I was a big fan of 227. For some reason, I was very amused. I was always amused by sassy black people as a kid. So, loved the way... remember when Marla Gibbs and, Sherman Helmsley would get into it on the Jeffersons?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought that was so funny as a kid. Which is so funny because as I liked All in the Family as a kid... No, I'm sorry, scratch that. I hated All in the Family when my dad would watch it. That was boring. But loved the Jeffersons, which is a spin-off of All in the Family.
Yeah. There was a bunch of spin-offs of All of the Family.
Maude, horrible.
Good Times was technically a spin-off of Maude.
Oh, it is? Oh, that's right.
Yeah, because Florida worked for Maude.
Yeah, but Good Times, I was just talking about this. It was so depressing.
It took place in the projects. Yes, it was depressing.
Anyway, what did we learn here?
We learned that Alana Reed Hall died in 2009.
Oh, my God. Well, no, not the old lady. Her friend?
No, the friend.
Oh, well.
She was also on Sesame Street, too.
Well, then she went to Tutu Heaven.
Oh, God.
What? Saying that she went to heaven? I didn't say it's Tutu Hell. She went to
so
Tutu
you said
Heaven.
Toot, right? Claudia, do you have a toot or a boot?
I mean, I think Peppermint's makeup is amazing, and she looks great in this. I think she could have gone further. Like, when it says big hair, I wanted people to be inventive. I wanted people to take... hair and make it architectural or do, there's so much to be done with that sort of Marie Antoinette stuff or wigs or whatever. And I just think that hair could be seen on Beyonce right now. So that's amazing. Beyonce's amazing. I'm just saying I wanted her to go further, but she looks beautiful and her makeup and hair looks great and the dress is fine. It's a toot because she looks good. It's just not doing anything, it's not a bad look, but you don't win in this look. You don't. I don't care.
Yeah.
But I do think Peppermint's makeup and everything. She's just looking more and more beautiful. I think each challenge.
Yes, I would agree with that. This is a toot, but an unenthusiastic toot. Not a toot with reservation, but just kind of a toot. Okay. So next we have Nina Bonina Brown. who is giving us that same breastplate that she gives us every episode, and she's in a cheetah print catsuit and has her makeup all done so that she has cat-like features. Claudia, what are our thoughts on Nina's look?
Boot. I mean, that whole outfit, I think I could make that. I have thigh-high boots and a corset. Like, I just would need to go. I don't know if Party City sells the cat. You know what I mean? Like, her strength is the makeup, and by all means, she really nailed that. Like, as a fan of cats, like, she's in. The big hair, like, it was a boot. I just thought it was a missed opportunity for her. The makeup, we've seen her do things. I didn't think it was that. I mean, she's really clever with her makeup, but the look in itself, I'm just kind of over, like, yeah, the breastplate, the bodysuits, the hair is big, but it was just a miss on the challenge, and I was not impressed. Boot.
Joe, what are your thoughts?
Midnight. Nina Bonina Brown loves her breastplate. She looks like the shitty tranny cat from a shitty production of Cats. I hate this outfit, and I'm sick of her using that same old breastplate. I just wish she'd sashay away.
That was amazing. You went the whole course.
So a toot is what you're saying.
Every week she walks the runway in the same old outfit.
Agree.
So,
Go ahead.
I think that oh god, my hair. I think that this is. You made reference to Halloween Party City. This is a very Party City look. This is I'm a sexy cat lady going to a Halloween costume. That's what this is, and she's better than this. So this look gets a big boot from me. So next up, actually last up, we have Alexis Michelle, who has on a black crazy updo, for lack of a better word, wearing a black corset and makeup with ice blue contact lenses in. White makeup across the face with ice blue contact lenses and dark gradient mascara. So, Claudia, what are our thoughts on this?
As much as I think she's basic, this is a toot. It's the best she's ever looked, better than when she was the Madonna, because the dress is fine. It's all about the hair and the makeup. I think her makeup is stunning. The eye work with the nails is amazing. That hair, but that's what I'm looking for. Like she said, so that Ursula underwater, I just was like loving her look on her face. She's the most beautiful I think she's looked, with that sort of her makeup so interesting, and I like the hair, and the dress went with it. It's not amazing, but it worked with the look, and so I think that's what's keeping her. I once again don't love her like with Farrah this week, both of them, but they saved it to me on their runways.
I think it's a total boot for me. I hate this look. I think it looks like she went to Party. Speaking of Party City, she went to Party City and bought the theater fag hag costume.
Oh my god!
That's what it looks like.
Wow. Okay.
What?
It's horrible. You know what she looks like? A zombie Patti LuPone.
Patti LuPone or Patti LaBelle?
No, Patti LuPone.
Oh, well, because Patti LaBelle had that big crazy hair in the 80s, so I thought that's what you were trying to say.
Come on, Patti!
Patti LuPone sang Memory, so they're bringing it back to Cats.
No, Betty Buckley sang Memory.
Oh, crap.
No, but Patti LuPone, I'm sure somewhere in fucking Patti LuPone's career, she's fucking just gone way over the top on that goddamn song. And Alex Lefebvre, I don't want to fucking hear from you. I don't give a shit. Patti LuPone bugs me. Oh, you know what? Also, we have other... John Marti. You know what? She's fine. She's just a little extra. Don't you think?
Well,
she should Patti LuTone it down.
Patti LuTone. Okay, so you're giving this a boot, is what I'm hearing.
Boot. I know. You know what? I want to... John Marti, one of our listeners, is a huge Patti LuPone fan. And I feel bad. He might even stop listening to the show now because I said that. Thank you.
Okay. I give this look a toot. I really liked this look. I don't know that it necessarily met the criteria for the challenge, because as far as big hair goes, I feel like she could have gone bigger but I love the makeup and the contact lens of this. I got a very, I think they're White Walkers from Game of Thrones, where they have the ice blue eyes and the white. Like, that was kind of that. If there was going to be a drag queen White Walker, this would be it. And I thought it was a very sexy look too. Why gotta be white? Because that's what they call it on the show, Joe. I don't know. So
I feel like every look section ends with a sigh.
Maybe. So, well, but that was the looks for this week's episode.
Hooray.
Hooray. Huzzah.
Yay!
So we have a couple of emails this week. And the first one is from our old friend Steven Starling. Well, not old friend, but our friend Steven Starling. And he writes us an email entitled, Nina is the new Chi-Chi DeVayne. He says, I definitely think that Nina hits that sore spot RuPaul has for a queen who doesn't know her true potential. I am glad she's still here, though I'm not sure how Farrah is still hanging in there. Maybe it's because her part was too small? I can't even imagine what the chat rooms are saying about Aja going home tonight. What did you think about Tori Spelling and Jenny Garth? I feel like they are the best guest directors ever. What? They were like white, middle-class white girls reacting to downtown drag queens for the very first time and loving it. I laughed more at their comments than the queens this week. Be well, Starling. So, what are our thoughts on what Starling has to say?
You know, Jordan Darling did this last week. What is it with writing us emails about topics they know we're going to talk about? Where they're like, hey, they had a lip sync this week. What did you guys think? Aja went home. Did you think she should have gone home?
What do you think of their looks?
Girl, you better step your pussy up on these emails. What? Yeah. Yeah. You guys should do a whole segment on what they were wearing and their looks. Taylor,
did you know there are drag queens on this show?
Yeah. Hey, what did you guys think of the challenge this week? I thought it was funny. I'm like, yeah, well, we're going to talk about all that. That's what we do on this show. We recap the show. Anyway.
Well, okay, let's talk about Nina and the queen who doesn't know her true potential. We've seen this in the past. We saw this with Chi-Chi. Some would say we definitely saw this with Pearl on her season.
Adore.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that there is definitely, at this point, we kind of see...
Violet Chachki.
She knew her worth, man.
Yeah, no, I don't know that that's... think that
the point where she had a bad attitude, remember? And they thought she was a bitch. They hated her.
Well, I think everybody in the workroom thought she was a bitch, but did RuPaul ever comment on the fact that she thought she was a bitch?
Oh, I don't remember.
So RuPaul seemed to respond not so much to the bitchiness as much as that little gay boy sitting looking at fashion magazines all by himself. I think that's the piece of that. If you were using that template, that would be the angle that you would have used for Violet.
I think RuPaul has a soft spot for African-American queens who don't feel they're good enough, because I feel RuPaul relates to them. And RuPaul has said so much to Nina on the show.
Okay. Claudia, you look like you had something you were going to say.
Oh, yeah, no, I was thinking of that. I was still sort of stuck on, I was like, Violet Chachki never thought... I feel like she always knew her potential. I think I was stuck on that.
But self-doubt. Yeah, Violet Chachki had no self-doubt. Sorry.
No self-doubt whatsoever. But I see what they're saying about Nina and Chi-Chi DeVayne. The thing that I'll say is that Chi-Chi DeVayne had charm galore and was so, owned who she was. That was her thing. She's like, I'm just this, queen from Louisiana, and I went down to Party City, and there was... that didn't sound anything like Chi-Chi, so sorry about that. But I felt like... And I love Chi-Chi, but really owned who she was and just kept I'm just going to do the best I can. Whereas Nina is just kind of like this conspiracy theory, they're out to get me, is sort of old. And I feel like I saw Chi-Chi taking in their notes and then really trying on each runway to push it, And I don't see Nina doing that at all. And I feel like her strength, the makeup, when she won, she was the orange peach and stuff, and that was cool. But now I'm a little bored by that. I want to see more. Do that makeup and be in a fierce outfit,
With Chi-Chi, you wanted to root for her. You wanted to be a cheerleader for Chi-Chi. With Nina, you don't want that. You don't, if anything, the week that she came out with the short white... kind of crop thing with the one mascara. That was my favorite look because it wasn't another one of these damn face paintings.
Yeah.
Or we're painting teeth on our lips and all that. No, do fucking something different. Claudia, you brought up a really good point. She won that first challenge like that, or she was praised for that. So that's all she wants to do now through the rest of the season. Like, she doesn't want to move beyond. Whereas Chi-Chi definitely wanted to try to take it, like you're saying, take in the notes, try to do things a little bit differently, try to glam it up as much as she could while staying true to herself.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
Another reason I'm mad, Nina's still there and beat Aja. I'm just gonna keep saying that. Sorry, everybody.
Okay.
But yeah, those are my thoughts to that.
Okay. We got another email in just under the wire from Thurston in the UK. Thurston writes, "Hey, Rucappers, looking forward to the latest podcast. This episode was the best this season. For me, we saw some personality from the contestants. We saw guest judges who were fierce and funny. I loved Mummy Rue's look. Mummy instead of Mommy, because he's from the UK, and I love that. The lip sync song was a classic. The episode was beautiful, and it was perfect. It stoned its own tights." Things are not that okay, though. Enough with the social awareness after-school special realness. Enough with Valentina. Joe is correct. The editors have it bad for this queen. Did we see her in Untucked this week? She seems so entitled and extra. Keep up the good work, boys. As a Patreon, I now own you. Well, $5 of you, which is cheaper as I am in the UK.
Yeah.
Thurston. Let's speak a little bit to the social awareness after school special realness of this. We talked a little bit about that with Mirror Moment, but I think that we have repeatedly seen this. We have this recurring theme of they are very aware. They are very much Schrodinger's cats, where they are aware of what's going on around them, and as a result, we are not seeing genuineness, with the exception of possibly Rutucked, when they kind of are letting their hair down a little bit and allowing that little bit of realness. It is frustrating to watch that this season. Claudia, what are your thoughts?
I think that it has now just become a part of the show, and that I think, maybe because it was different when it was on Logo, it felt very much like our audience, especially to young, gay, now, trans teens and whatever, and we're going to show that people have hard times and look where they are now, and it's coming together. So I sort of feel that it's a part of the show that I accept, because I think at the end run it actually reaches people and there's positivity out of it. For watching it now, and I live in Los Angeles and everything, I'm like, yeah, everything's fine. But I think for maybe a kid watching, in a small town, in a rural area, that those social awareness things are important. But I see what Thurston is saying.
And I would agree with you that I think that they have talked about things, especially over the history of the show. There have been things that have happened with different queens where they talk about stuff. This season in particular, though, it feels very who can have the saddest story of the week, where they're all kind of fighting for that moment, where it feels very produced versus an organic moment, and that's frustrating, because I want to have real moments with these contestants, and I understand the irony of saying that about a reality show, but I want to feel like I'm getting to know the real them versus this producer manufactured character that they're showing.
And I think it was harder because sometimes that everyone's experience has been very, not that they aren't personal, but more about dealing with either coming out or having their family accept them or finding drag and all this kind of stuff. And this year we've really ratcheted up to like mass cancer deaths, the massacre in Orlando, and then so they definitely sort of. I guess the most real was Peppermint, but then I heard from you guys that she was already out and known to be transgender in New York, so it wasn't that much of a reveal. But I get it, for television, it's a big reveal. But that was the only one that felt maybe more authentic to me than we are now going to talk about. The nightclub and Pulse, yeah, and then So I see what you're saying. It feels heightened somehow.
Yeah, I would say Peppermint would have the two most. I don't want to say genuine, because that sounds really shitty, but between that and the being beat up in high school and the support that she received from I think that was one of the first episodes she talked about that. Those are the two that resonated the most with me, because even the Pulse massacre, it felt like there were people that were doing the whole, I was supposed to be there that night, but rather than saying
I went to Florida.
This many friends. Yeah.
Yeah, I was in Orlando in like 1991, and it was like a really crazy time. Yeah, like there was a lot of like attaching yourself to a tragedy so you can be a part of the.
Yeah. So, Joe, what are your thoughts?
In your walk, head to toe, let your whole body talk.
Well, that concludes another episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Recap. Special thanks to Claudia Maittlen-Harris for joining us today. This was a lot of fun, Claudia.
Oh my God, thanks so much for having me. I feel like I kept jumping into it. I was like,
No.
Oh, I want to talk about that too.
Oh,
Thank
just
you
wait
for
till you hear
having
the
me.
edited version where that doesn't happen. People are not going to know what the hell you're talking about. Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about was you started an organization called We for She. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, weforshe.org. There are 4 of us. It's nonprofit, and it's working to create practical ways to create gender parity or gender balanced television. So primarily women, but also for diversity in television for writers and directors. So female writers and female directors. And if you go to our website, weforshe.org, you can check it out. But we really are trying to help female writers and directors. Just the numbers and statistics for diversity in the writer's room or directing episodes of televisions are pretty paltry. And so we're trying to get these women jobs. Like, as we keep going, we're so sick of, like, women taking brunches and luncheons or having, like, galas to talk about it or symposiums. We're like, let's get jobs. So we have 2 programs that deal with writers and directors. And so far, we're doing pretty good.
All right. Well, look, if you're a female writer or director out there, you should definitely go to weforshe.org where you can learn more about Claudia and the amazing work she's doing. Well, for Claudia Maittlen-Harris and Taylor Maittlen-Harris and myself,
sashay away until next week.
Want to share your thoughts about Drag Race? Email us at dragracerecap@gmail.com. Help the show out. Leave us a review on iTunes. It really works. For up-to-the-minute news about the show, follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/dragracerecap and follow us on Twitter at dragracerecap. To find all of our old episodes, visit our website at dragracerecap.com. Taylor has his own podcast. It's called Pod Is My Co-Pilot, and you can find it at podismycopilot.com or wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow Taylor on Instagram at PIMCTaylor and on Twitter at PIMCTaylor. Want to hear me talk about Drag Race even more? Well, then listen to me on One-on-One with Larry Flick every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, exclusively on Entertainment Weekly Radio, Channel 105 on Sirius XM Radio. You can also find me on my other podcast, Catching Up with Mike and Joe, available at cupodcast.com and wherever you get your podcasts. Follow me on Instagram at Joe Betance or on Twitter at Joe Betance. If, for some reason, you would like to know what I'm eating, you can also follow my food Instagram at Hungry Chola.
Fifi, I tried to hug you, though.
You know what? It's always okay to make mistakes and just know that you can always grow from them. It's never the end. You can always start over. Love y'all. Fifi O'Hara. Jump in a car.